Welcome to XXL. Today we're going to be talking about painting a Lexan body. I did a video previously where I showed how to trim out a body. Now the body that I have here is already pre-trimmed, so that's an option too if you're not comfortable with trimming them out. So let's take a look at what I got and then we'll go over what we're going to do. As you can see, I got a variety of paints here. We're going to do kind of a crazy paint scheme on this new body. I wanted to try out these paints. They've been on the market for a little while. These are actually the Traxxas ProGraphix Custom R paint. Kind of a new product. Definitely wanted to try it out. Seemed like for a long time Tamiya was pretty much the way to go for polycarbonate paint. Duratrax makes some too. I've used that. It works okay. I think Spastix is another one. I've never used that one, but I wanted to give the Traxxas ones a try, see how they are. So far, I mean, I haven't used it yet, but I'm impressed with the size of the can. These are 150 milliliters, where like the Tamiya ones are only 100 milliliters, so you're getting 50% more paint in there. So I just wanted to get a variety of colors, kind of got rainbow thing going on here. These are all fluorescent. That's fluorescent red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. And then I also got some white to back everything with when we're done. And this is something that none of the other Lexan paints have, is these big cans like Traxxas has now. This is a 13.5 ounce can. I know when I painted my 8th scale Jeep body, I bought all the little Tamiya cans. I think it took me like 6 or 7 of those cans to get good coverage on it, and it was just one color. So I think that's gonna be really good to have that. And prices were, you know, right in line with what the Tamiya costs, maybe a little bit better. Now you may be wondering what kind of body I'm using, because I've got 6 of the small cans and 1 of these giant cans, which is almost the size of 3 of those. And the body that we're doing is for Traxxas X-MAXX. So this also kind of ties into one of my previous videos that's going to go on my X-MAXX that has the Mamba Monster X8S system in it. I think it's just really going to be a cool addition, because that is kind of a wild truck to begin with, so why not do a wild body on it too. As you can see, this body is clear, and for those of you who don't know, you actually paint these bodies from the inside. There's a protective film on the outside that's like an overspray protective film, so that way when you're painting, if you get any on the outside, that film just peels off. Looks nice and clean when you're all done. So the first thing I've got to do, because when they form these, there's some sort of mold release with the form. So there's usually like some kind of oil or something in here. It doesn't really feel oily, but it's always a good idea to wash these out with nice, like warm, soapy water, just to make sure there's nothing left. And then try not to touch it too much, because even the oils in your fingers can affect the paint. So that's going to be the first thing I do. Give it a nice clean, and then we'll get to work on our paint scheme. Okay, our body's all clean. I just used warm soapy water to clean the inside of that, to get any oils off of it. And we've got all our paint set up here. And then we're going to use something a little bit different for to mask off our paint. And this is the Dawn Powerwash. This is dishwashing detergent. I know it's it's different, but I'm going to show you. It makes a really cool effect on the body to just kind of round out those edges, because we're going to do like 6 sections of color on this body. So let's get started, and I'll show you how it works. So like I said, we're going to do 6 different sections with our 6 different colors. We're going to go in the same pattern that I've got them laid out. So this front kind of quarter here is going to be red, and then we'll do orange and green and yellow and blue and purple, and but we're going to do 1 section at a time, because you have to work kind of quick with this Dawn Power Wash method. So first thing we'll do is just kind of get our shape outlined, and this stuff, it comes out like in a foam. So I just want to get a rough shape. I think that's kind of maybe a little less, because I want it just in that one corner. So I want to mask off anything else that I don't want that red paint on. Just get a nice thick coating of the soap here that will ensure that the paint doesn't stick there. I always like to do just like a little test just to get a feel for how the paint comes out, and then just steady, even strokes. And I'm kind of spraying away from the other side so I don't get too much of that red overspray. Now typically you would do a bunch of light coats with this, but since we're masking off with the power wash, we can only do this in one shot. So I'm going a little thicker than you normally would. I just want to make sure I get these edges really good as I move through. And then once we're happy with that, we get a little bit more there towards the middle. I'm gonna grab the hose, we'll wash this all the way, and we'll see what that final effect looks like. So let me grab the hose real quick. And I'll just wash all that right away. Soap goes away and the paint stays on there. Just like that. And so you see how the edges are kind of a little splotchy. That's kind of the look we're going for. Once we get all the colors on, we're gonna back everything with white. I think it's gonna be really cool. Okay, I've got this next section dried. I didn't really worry about too much back here or over on this side. A lot of people are worried about when you spray this fresh paint with water, but as you can see, it's stuck. The water seems to make the paint activate quicker and dry quicker. So we're just gonna repeat the process that we did here. I'll mask it off with the power wash spray, and then I'll spray it with our paint. Alright, we got our last section all dried off, last color. So let's do our power wash once again. And then we'll grab the purple, fill in that section, rinse it, and we'll be ready for the backer. What do you guys think? I think it looks really cool. And then we're going to come back through and fill this all in with white. But what we got to do first, I gave it a little extra rinse this time just to make sure I get rid of all the soap. I'm going to dry this thing off. I'm going to let it sit and dry for probably an hour or so before I do the backing. It looks kind of crazy right now, and that's kind of the point. Like, I wanted a super crazy paint job. Maybe it doesn't look totally finished, but just you got to trust the process here. It's going to look great once we get that backer on there. All those colors are really going to pop. All these bare areas are going to be filled in. It's going to look awesome. Okay, I've let this dry for about an hour. Traxxas actually recommends that you wait 5 minutes in between coats, but since we were working with soap and water, I want to make sure it was definitely dry. And now we're going to move on to the white backer, and I'm going to be a little bit more careful with this. I want to make sure I get smooth, even coats. I'm just going to do probably 3 or 4 light coats just so we get like a really nice finish for that end result. Also, I didn't mention this earlier, obviously I'm outside. Always a good idea to paint any well ventilated area. Outside is the best if possible, because after all, you are working with paint. You don't want to really breathe that stuff in. Alright, paint's all dry. Looks pretty good. Now I just got to keep in mind the protective film's still on there, so not totally what it's gonna look like in the end, but I just got to do a couple things. I've got to put this cage on there. This is the latch system for the body mounts, and I got these RPM body protectors. They kind of fit in the front here where the cage bolts through, and also these parts right here go on the back to protect from the screws ripping through. One thing to note here is that before you put the cage in, you gotta put the stickers on, because the sticker for the back window doesn't have these holes cut out of it. So I paused for a second, collected myself. That's so frustrating when you put something all together and come to find out you gotta take it back apart and put it back together again. So took the cage out, I'm gonna put this last sticker on. I will cut the holes in it, put the cage back in, and then we'll continue with the rest of the stickers. Alright, I'm super satisfied with how that turned out. What do you guys think? Put your comments down below. Love to read them. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, hit subscribe so you don't miss anything. I'm going to take this thing out for a rip. It's a beautiful day out here. If you guys would like to see this truck running, I do have another video. I'll link it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.